Here we have a laptop designed by Sony Electronics from late 2007. It's a Sony Vaio VGN-CR353. This is when Sony was concerned about designing a laptop computer that looked very similar to the original MacBook Pro, I take it, judging by the keyboard, and the speakers to either side, which have the aluminium grille appearance to them, even though the material on this laptop is plastic. The keyboard also is silver, and the type of keyboard, the way the keys are incorporated underneath the plastic, sort of also has the original MacBook Pro feel, and also the MacBook line. As you can see, it has a 13.5-inch LED backlit LCD panel at 1280 by 800 resolution, I believe. To my knowledge, this is one of the very first LED backlit LCD screens that were featured in a laptop computer. As you can see, we've got the model number and information up there. The Sony Motion Eye webcam, that's what Sony obviously call it. An LED indicator light for when the webcam is enabled, and a built-in microphone which has alright sounding audio. It could sound better though, it could have more clarity to it. As you can see, the touchpad has a generous design and size to it, I guess you'd say, with clicky buttons. Here we've got a few shortcut buttons. This is basically for when the machine's powered off. You can still play CDs with it. You could just use it as a CD player. Toshiba laptops also feature that. As you can see, play, stop, and a couple of skip buttons there. Got the indicator lights, power, battery, hard drive. I think that other light there is the dock, because this machine does actually come with a dock, and the wireless indicator light on it. As you can see, some more shortcut buttons just below the LCD panel. AV mode button and 3 volume control buttons, a capture button to enable the webcam, and a display on and off button. So if I were to press the correct button, as you can see, it does switch off the screen, and we do get this light underneath that illuminates and changes from the colour of blue to white, which is a nice addition. And of course, when you move the touchpad, the screen comes back to life and the light goes out. The structure of the machine is quite decent. It feels quite solid and tough, even though it's made all out of plastic. As you can see on the front of the machine, with it shut, you still have access to those shortcut buttons, and the indicator lights you can still see. And also when it's on standby, you get the power light that flashes once every 10 seconds, and also the LED indicator light, the standby light, as you can see, which I guess sort of resembles a MacBook Pro finish. You've got a couple of card readers, SD card and a Pro card, which I'm unsure of what that actually is, and Magic Gate, which I take is probably some sort of addition from Sony Electronics. You can see the DVD burner, and one USB 2.0 port with an Ethernet jack. On the back of it we have the DC powered jack, which is 19 volts or 19.5 volts. As you can see on the plug, it's branded Vaio. I'll plug that back in. It's got a Dell or an HP sort of connected to it. CPU fan outlet, and as you can see, that actually incorporates the CPU fan chipset and video card into the one heatsink, so it spaces it out between the two fan grills. Modem for fax and dial-up internet. The other CPU fan outlet, the Kensington lock port. VGA video port. S-video out, another two USB 2.0 ports. Firewire 400 port, which is handy for video editing. Microphone and headphone jack with a wireless LAN toggle switch. Flipping it over to the bottom of it, it doesn't look so much like a MacBook Pro, but it still has a nice finish to it. Here we have some various information stickers, including Sony personal computer, with some information about it. This computer is designed to operate only with genuine Sony batteries, so I'm unsure as to whether it will not charge if it has a non-genuine battery in it. I'm not sure of that. The CPU, RAM and the video card is located underneath this plastic cover here, with some ventilation cutouts or holes there. As you can see, that LED light is clearly visible from when the machine's upside down. Is that the speakers have rather good quality, and it has a very rich in-depth sound with a bit of clarity to it as well. That's with the EQ on flat. So it actually does sound very similar to a few HP machines with the speakers located at the front of it just there. I'll reboot it into Windows 7 and give you a further look of it and how it performs in Windows 7. The machine only weighs about 2 kilos or so, and as you can see it's quite easy to and quite light to handle. I'll log it back in here, and as you can see it is actually running Windows XP Professional. Now it did ship with Windows Vista, and I did have Windows Vista on it, but I was looking for a machine to run legacy Windows XP applications on and older various utilities and things, and this machine seems to do that job quite nicely. As you can see, there is some various software installed, Style XP, and some antivirus and anti-malware software, also anti-spyware. The picture or the display is quite sharp with some other various information and software installed. As you can see, it's got the Windows Classic layout on it. And I'll pull up CPU ID to give you a further look at it, some further information that would explain it the best. As you can see, we've got the Intel Core 2 Duo T8100 CPU, which is the mobile series, Penryn, with SSE 4.1, and it idles around 800 MHz. It is 2.1 GHz CPU, as seen just there, but it idles around 800 MHz or 797 when not in use. As you can see, it does have 3 MB of L2 cache, also displayed there. The BIOS on it is from March 2008, looking at just there. It's got the Intel PM965 chipset, got 4 GB of DDR2 memory in it. Windows XP 32-bit only utilises 3 GB. We've got the RAM information, which I believe is, as you can see, it's mixed, but it is running in dual channel though. And the graphics card, which is a dedicated but quite old ATi Mobility Radeon X2300, which is 256 MB. We'll pull this up here and I can give you a look at some further specs of it. I have partitioned the drive into 2 partitions to dual boot it with Windows XP and Windows 7. The hard drive, I believe, is a Fujitsu, as confirmed just there. It's a model 250 GB hard drive with the Metisha, I think it's pronounced, DVD burner. As you can see, it has the access to the SD card reader. Nothing's in there at the moment, so as you can see, it doesn't actually, just says to please insert a disc. What else I can show you on here? Is that the speakers have rather good quality, and it has a very rich in-depth sound with a bit of clarity to it as well. That's with the EQ on flat. So it actually does sound very similar to a few HP machines with the speakers located at the front of it just there. I'll reboot it into Windows 7 and give you a further look of it and how it performs in Windows 7. The ATi Radeon X23 video card still does play HD 1080p videos just fine, flawlessly actually, as you can see right there, 1080p. It's got no skipping or lagging to it, which is to be expected with the card. As I did say, it does have various software installed for everyday tasks like the Broadwave audio streaming, Firefox with VLC player, Winamp, Internet Explorer and a few other web browsers. It also has K-Lite video codec pack in case I need to view videos in a format other than MP4 and WMV, so it can also play other videos as well. When I acquired this laptop several months ago, it also did include a Futuretronics USB ball mouse, as you can see. A ball mouse. You don't see them every day, it's a mini one, so it's good for travel, I guess. You'd you'd say. I'm fine using the touchpad with the USB plug on it. And a Targus carry bag, which came in very good condition, and also a copy, I don't actually have the DVD cover here, but a copy of Microsoft Office Home and Student 2007, as I'll open it up just there. And now I'll reboot it into Windows 7. When I power it on, you'll be able to see the BIOS splash screen, which is just a Sony logo with a Phoenix BIOS logo there too. I'll boot it into the BIOS if it would like to be cooperative. But in the meantime, as you can see, it does have that very reflective LCD screen. So we'll try and successfully get into that BIOS now. As you can see, we've got various information about it, like the hard disk size and the amount of RAM that's installed in it, the BIOS revision, machine name, some model for it, some settings, not as many settings as other laptops with the Phoenix BIOS include, but I guess it wouldn't be too much of a problem for someone who doesn't need to tweak it. I doubt that it can be overclocked, and I doubt that you'd want to. As you can see, we've got the boot menu there to boot into Windows XP or Windows 7. Earlier version of Windows, it calls it, wasn't shut down properly the last time, I don't think. I'll be back when it boots up into Windows 7. Boot it up to the Windows 7 desktop in around 35 seconds, and as you can see, it has found a few wireless networks which it is not connected to at this current time. I don't really use Windows 7 on it, as I've got no need to. I've got various other Windows 7 machines that could be used and perform much better than this one. But as you can see, I have installed Windows 7 32-bit for driver-wise purposes, so unfortunately we can't utilise that total 4 gigs of RAM at the moment, but I plan on changing some things over a bit later. As you can see, we do have the Windows Experience Index rating, if you'd like to pause that and have a closer look at it. Aero performance is just fine. There is no lagging or skipping at all, which is to be expected. And we will pull up DXDiag just for the sake of it. And it's not too slow. Windows 7 performs just fine. The specs are sufficient for it. There's some information reported in another way. And also the display, which Windows 7 didn't automatically install, even though this video card was released several years prior to Windows 7 being designed and released. So there you go. There's Windows 7 booted on it. We'll shut it down now. We'll reboot it into Windows XP. Thanks for watching this video of the Sony Vaio CR353 laptop. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe and like the video.